I was coming home from Chicago, and I late one night, and I threw my bags down, and I said, check that for me, please, and I had him a ticket. He looked at my ticket and said, is your final destination Atlanta? I was tired. I didn't want to argue with him. But I didn't want to lie about it. I said, no, sir, my final destination is not Atlanta. Well, he said, it's been a bad mistake here then. I said, what do you mean? He said, this ticket says your final destination is Atlanta. I said, it's been a bad mistake. Well, he said, we can correct this in just a few minutes. He said, where are you going? I said, Atlanta. He said, then if you're going to Atlanta, he said, your final destination is Atlanta. I said, no, sir. Well, he said, let me see if I can get this straight now. He said, do you live in Atlanta? I said, yes, sir. And when you get off the plane in Atlanta, what you going to do? I said, I'm going to get in my car and go home. That's where you're going tonight, to Atlanta? I said, yes, sir. He said, then you don't know it, but your final destination is Atlanta. I said, no, sir, you don't know it, but my final destination is not Atlanta. He got a little angry. He said, would you please tell me what your final destination is so I can check these bags? I said, heaven. He said, oh. I said, but don't check the bags. Just check them to Atlanta. He was tagging him. I said, what's your final destination? He looked up and said, well, it's not heaven. I said, I know what it is. It's hell. Don't have to be. I said, let me tell you how you'd make it heaven. And gave him the plan of salvation. He trusted Christ as his Savior and followed me halfway to the airplane and said, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. He said,